I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and I guess you'll just introduce yourself as a host today.
Sawa, Muriuki Kiai. Yes, today I'm co-hosting with Ole.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Muriuki
Thank
Kiai.
you.
Okay, works with Ciru.
Thank you for coming, because this today,
Hey, watch out, the rain, everything.
tutapiga hiyo story. Tufanye story time. Because where?
No one was supposed to leave the house today.
Hey.
Today everyone's just meant to be at home.
It makes sense. If you come from a two-parent home where you've woken up today and you're making cookies,
Tell God thank you.
and it's warm and you're watching TV. Hey, my Lord. Anyways, this episode we were to discuss, or basically we're going to discuss I didn't know how to frame it per se, but basically step siblings, half siblings, it's bigger families, because we are covering polygamy and blended families. And what I realized is that blended families might be what is it called? It's sort of a foreign idea for us, Africans.
Yeah.
But a lot of us have step siblings. Like, your dad is somewhere and you have brothers and sisters.
It's just that it's not spoken about.
Yeah. So there's blended. The first idea I had of a blended family is fashionable stepmom in Kenya.
Yeah.
Most of the time I just hear, I have step siblings, and then they live over there, you live over here.
I think she's the one who revolutionized. Revolutionized. I think she's the one who revolutionized and debunked so many things about step families, because the Cinderella story has always been the stepmom is the witch. Well, in some cases, but the woman was always, you've never heard of bad stepdads. It's always bad stepmoms.
Oh, but Vicky told us of a bad stepdad story. Remember, Vicky was here for when mother left.
Vicky, we love you.
Yeah, we've missed you.
You'll
come.
Shout out.
Hey, by the way, shout out. Oh, I'll start doing shout outs. But there's that, and then there's polygamous.
Yeah.
Why this episode is wild. Okay, there were people who are to come. Who have experience, who've been raised in polygamous and blended families, but then things happened last minute and they couldn't make it. But then this was the most requested episode in season 3. Every other time I was covering topics in nilikuwa naambiwa, please talk about polygamous families and blended families.
Yeah.
But where are you now to discuss the topic? So now we'll just talk about it, and I hope our, at least 2 people's perspectives will be able to cover as much as we can.
Yes. Next time, guys, when
I call out,
when she calls out,
you come.
Please. This podcast is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
It talks idea. You'll leave feeling wow.
Yeah, I'm almost scared about today, because I don't know if we'll be able to cover everyone. Yeah, it's usually easier when people share from their own perspective. But sawa.
I, for one, really wanted to know a lot about
polygamous families, right?
And it's not polygamous in the sense of my dad leaves my mom and goes marries another. No, it's my dad has
2
wife
wives.
number 1, wife number 2, wife number 3.
We live in a homestead.
Yes, my mom is wife number 2. Mama mdogo, mama
mkubwa. Yes. And you just, that would have been interesting. But anyway, I hope you can get the idea. As usual, we have prompts. I put out prompts on my socials, and that's where I get responses from. And then that's just what I'll read, and then we'll bounce off basically experiences. At least you have step siblings.
Yes, I have step siblings, and I have step parents,
Okay.
step moms.
So we are not too far from at least people who have a first-hand experience. For me, I come from one home for one dad, one mom. So it's wild because I'm Luo.
What are you trying to
They
say?
are breaking that. My dad broke the cycle.
Luo Yoruba men.
Sahi wamechange. Unajua right now they've changed the whatever. What is it called?
I think so.
The naming. See now it's not polygamous per se, it's polyamorous.
Oh my, hey, are they ready?
It's poly all the same.
And it's Luo men.
Wachana tutafanya ama tufanye episode ya Luo men.
Tufanye hiyo kwanza ya polyamory. Me, I really want us to do one for polyamory.
By the way, we can do an episode on what is it called?
What?
That thing. Is it a type of partnership? Polyamorous, monogamous. Yeah, we just have like
open
conversations around that.
relationships.
Yeah, and see what that looks
And
like.
lifestyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Higher. Let's get to where? Prompts. Higher. So I asked people, tell me about life with step parents and siblings or half siblings. And the first person here said, we suffered. Words cannot describe the pain and suffering. Worst of it is seeing your biological. They did not finish that statement. So again, it serves into the narrative of Mama Wakambo.
Yeah.
I
wish they were more specific on is it a stepdad or a stepmom. But I do understand because for me, if you ask me of my experience, it was horrible. It was just a very horrible experience. And anytime I talk about my stepmoms, yes, there are many, there are 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're just witches.
Actually, the next response here, this person said, my stepmom is the devil herself.
No, I understand because I went through so much hell. You know, they usually say that a man cannot stay without a wife. That thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I know of people who have, I know of men who've taken care of their kids without wives. And Nani, the lady Wamoshe was here. Wamoshe was here and she talked about the way her dad raised them until they got to a certain age. And that's when in high school, the dad introduced a stepmom. For me, it was just very horrible from the age of 12 years. Devil kuteswa, yani the Cinderella story. I don't know how I can explain that.
I know the
unaambiwa uoshe vitu, ufanye, you're being mistreated, your dad doesn't have any say in it. Well, they have a say, but they just choose not to. Because I remember of an experience where I'm being told to, we've had breakfast, which unaga we were like, whatever you're being given is very different from other portions.
The rest of the people.
Yes, your portions are very small. And that is what will keep you till for the rest of the day. That's what you're going to have for the rest of the day until usiku at around 9. Again, you receive your small portion. So as everyone else is having lunch, my father is like, go hide there. Ukipewa chakula. So niko like, why are you hiding?
Why am I hiding to eat?
Yeah, why are you telling me to hide? Because to eat and you're giving me food. Kwani it was just horrible.
The dynamic of when mother leaves and then you get a stepmom, that dynamic of your dad not standing up for you is very wild to me. I don't understand why men don't stand up for their children who've remained with this new person.
Because men are trash.
Well, I'm sorry, I forgot for a minute. I forgot.
What do you expect? Men are trash. And it's because men are always told, wezi kabila bibi, you have to.
It's okay. Unaweza chukua bibi, but again, something as heinous as you don't have access to food. One of my children doesn't have access to food.
Yeah.
How is that what has that got to do with Wezikana Bibi? Bibi akuje tu ni sawa, but everyone in the house needs to eat.
I won't even try to give an explanation to it because basically it's just trash behavior. But if you look at it, it's because they're probably like, that is more important to them. Their relationship is more important to them than their kids. Yeah, because they're like,
it's not even relationship per se. Because me, I'm just thinking, Ciru, if there's 10 people in the house, it's time to eat.
Yeah, it's time to eat.
We feed 10 people.
Yeah,
it's not a matter of whose relationship is where with who. There's food and everyone here is eating.
It may remember.
It's wild.
I used to, because now I'm the stepchild, and Cinderella story, you're the one who's cleaning the house, you have to wake up and there's a house help.
And then while you're cleaning, do the rest of the siblings do anything?
No, there was a kid called Volin. If I wasn't giving, she used to want, there's nothing she ever did. She was a cab baby, but still, I think she was old enough to do a few things, because my daughter, at her age, she's 7, I usually tell her to clean after herself. Volin wouldn't. That guy, why am I mentioning names?
Well, I hope you now clean at your house.
That girl, let me explain the dynamic so that people can understand. So my mom passed away. My dad brought his second wife into the picture after 6 months of my mom's no, not 6 months. My mom passed away in April. The lady was in our house by August.
That's about 3 months.
That's 3 months.
Yeah.
And so that lady came into our home with a child, not my dad's child. So my dad was also a stepdad, was a step parent to that child. So this kid never used to do anything, but she was old enough.
The same age as you?
We were like 6 years apart. 5 years. 5 years.
And apart. She's older, you're older?
No, I'm older.
Okay.
I'm older. However, since this woman was in my life for almost 4 years, by the time this child was no longer, as the years passed, she grew older. She's
no longer a child. She's 4 years old now.
Yeah, she's 4 years older, and she's capable of cleaning after herself. So in this situation where I'm with the house help and I'm being told to do certain things with the house help, she's not doing anything. You have to, little things like eating and taking your plate to the kitchen, I have to do it. If I don't do it, I get beaten because I'm supposed to clean up after her. She gets special treatment. I'm the stepchild, so I'm not ata kulala. I can't sleep on the bed. I never used to sleep on the bed. I used to sleep on the floor with the house help. And it's not at your mattress, a good mattress. Do you remember those very thin mattresses?
Yes. I think they were 3 inches. Were they 3 inches?
The ones for high school. Ukilala saizi, when you sleep on it and wake up, right now you'll wake up feeling,
and you live the Great Depression.
So she's not doing anything, and when food is being served, everyone is being served food. And Makiu, there are other people that we are living with at that point.
But you keep saying you're the stepchild, but in that situation, she's also the stepchild to your father. There's 2 stepchildren.
Let me tell you, most dynamics in step families,
it's just the mom. It's the entire.
Yes, if a man comes into a homestead with a child, now that child is considered the stepchild because that child is from another woman. They say this in our cultures, and I don't know whether in other cultures, but I've heard and I hear people saying that it's very hard to raise another woman's child.
No, those are just things people said too.
I've heard people say that, but I can testify to that as a mother.
It might be difficult in the sense that the upbringing, the foundation is not the same. But there's things like feeding.
Exactly.
Like the giving basics, someone food,
you give the basics,
clothing, a decent human experience. This is something you give to anyone. It doesn't matter to you're someone's child.
No, it shouldn't.
This is bare minimum. When people say bare minimum, ukizaliwa tu hivi, you have a right to food. You're entitled to food,
shelter,
shelter, clothing, decent living, respect.
The 5 basic needs that a child needs.
My Lord.
So up to now, I have trauma with food in the sense that I hate Mimi. I am, how will I say it? Like, Nina, because of iyo kunyimwa chakula, me right now I can't nyima anyone food. And also if I get into a situation where now the people are a certain way about food, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I will ntajitwa kwa hiyo situation. Because food is not something to nyima someone. It's not something
make weddings smaller. Some of us have trauma. We can't fight for food.
Exactly. Vitu kama hizo. Like the way you're saying, it's basic. Why such things? I remember we used to talk, because now I'm having only 2 meals in a day. I used, because yo mkoko ya ugali.
Yeah.
What do you call it in English for your English listeners? They'll go Google it.
But why would it have an English name and it's not an English food?
Because also Uko, they eat those things. The rest of Africans have something similar to ugali. Yeah. So I'm sure they have a name for it.
Whatever remains in the sufuri after you've made maize meal.
Yes. So the crisp. So when you put water, it softens. And we used to use, you see that water imebaki ya kuosha vyombo and then unaeka hapo. Because of how hungry I am, because we are waiting for my stepmom to wake up so that we can eat. Because she used to wake up at around 12.
And while you're 11. Waiting, who's waiting?
It's me and the house help.
Yeah.
The child has already had breakfast. So me and the house help can't have a breakfast if she hasn't woken up and had her breakfast. So as we are waiting, I used to go scoop that mkoko and eat. It was the hardest time of my life. And my dad used to see this. And for the longest time, I was like, hey, quite emotional. Hey,
you have tissue.
I have my hanky. Where?
You can take a break.
Hey, quite emotional.
I'm sorry.
Where? Hey, her mother atasikukuwa hivi. Hey.
I know.
So for the longest time, I used to wonder, like, how as a parent are you allowing this?
That's what's wild.
And I'm so scared. For the longest time, I was so scared of dating someone who has kids. Because, sometimes if you don't deal with your trauma, you end up being the person you
hated the most.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to put a child through that. So that was the dynamic with the second my first stepmom, the second wife.
Okay.
Hey, that was heavy.
Yeah.
And in terms of like kids, like now the step siblings, anything this child wanted that belonged to me, if I didn't give it to her, I used to get punished for it. So at the end of the day, if a father comes in with a child, they're not considered. Like,
But you know what I can't comprehend is that you say when a father comes in with a child, because for me it's the other way around. It's this woman who's come into this home.
It should
with
be
a
like
child.
that.
It's not you and your dad who moved in to her home.
well,
I would think I would think if that is how it is, you came to my house, I found me and my dad. This is my sanctuary. It's me, if anything, I'm supposed to tessa you.
that's the way it's supposed to be.
I would think, but
That's the way it's supposed to be.
wild.
But with all the stepmoms that I've had, it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Let me read through. I'm guessing it's almost the same narrative. It's pretty complicated, to be honest, but I knew of my biological dad 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's taken time for me to accept him and his family, but it's gotten easier over time.
Hey, that's a hard one.
I know of my biological dad.
She never met the dad growing up. Now she's an adult, or he's an adult.
And now you're meeting him with an entire family of people who you're supposed to call siblings.
Exactly. And you haven't grown up with your dad. Your siblings have had the chance of growing up with.
Yeah.
I'm scared for my daughter because of such. Because this is someone who was never there. They abandoned you. So you have to relive that trauma again.
And then there's also the idea of he chose them and not me.
Yeah, exactly.
He chose those children to be his children.
Yeah.
And then me, I was just supposed to be vibes.
Exactly. I was supposed to be vibes. Now you're back into my life.
Hey, my lord.
As
People
who?
are people are going through them.
And now,
most.
as an adult, you have to build a relationship with your siblings if you have the energy
Yeah.
to do it with all those personalities.
But I am pro. Of course, I speak from a point of privilege a lot, but I am pro no effort. Pro don't put effort. Just don't put effort into any sort of relationship that doesn't serve you. And I love that Mary-Liz Baibwa has been here twice, and she says that it doesn't matter. We could be blood. We could be just friends. Any relationship where effort is not coming from the other side, watcha. I know it's a very difficult thing. I can imagine you finding out one of your parents now in your adulthood. But then again, even that time when Mary Liz was saying, even if I want to mend a relationship, the effort is not coming from that. That person is not trying to mend the relationship with me. So it's like Nimina Fus. I'm out here simping for love from your family. So I'm just pro. I don't want to say cancel.
No, it's cancel.
But just don't
people.
put effort into it. Don't feel like you're obligated to create a relationship with that person or that family just because I know there's a lot of guilt tripping in Africa.
Yeah.
In African culture is all about, it's your nani, it's your nani.
It's your father. At the end of the day ni baba yako. Hata ukimpata kwa mtaro.
No, and people keep abusing that sort of respect ati, it's your person, this is your family. You remember even growing up, we were not allowed to ask. Me these days, I'm very kichwambaya. We were not allowed to ask, how am I related to this person? You are calling random people uncle.
Let me tell you, if there is one thing I have learned is my baby not calling everyone auntie,
yes, uncle. Yeah,
there's the respect where she'll call you Auntie Olive, but she knows this is mommy's friend.
Yes.
See, auntie, everyone is uncle and auntie. Me, if I've just met you, kwanza there are people she calls by her names because me and them are not close like that.
And then you're being told, this is your brother. How? Can you explain to me how this is my brother?
Don't ask too many questions. You'll know when you grow up. You'll understand when you grow up. Why you ever told that line?
Yes. And I'm just like, can't you? And me, I was just wondering, what was so wrong with explaining? What was so wrong with saying, this is the cousin to your dad's brother's wife? What was so wrong? it was just like a taboo to
You remember
Lord.
what we were talking about in the morning?
Yeah.
When you can't say certain things. You can't explain. Where, for example, your and step siblings and you're somewhere and you're introducing them and you say, oh, this is my half sister or half brother.
Yeah.
But then the older generation is like, no, just say your sister.
Just say your sister.
Just say your
don't
brother.
say half. Don't say step. Those are
same
not
thing.
prefixes that are allowed in the African culture.
Culture.
I think we need to start. If you're on this podcast, I will continue. If you consume this podcast, I'll continue to tell you, be very keen about like labeling, categorizing.
Yeah.
Be very, just do it. Make sure you know, this is how I interact with this person. This is how we relate with this person. Akuna mambo ya ati, this is my brother from another mother. And I think a lot of why our parents were hiding how we are related to other people is because they didn't want to spoil their reputation.
I feel
some
like
of these people who you are related to, unapata maybe alikuwa mtoto wa klande wa anko yako. So it's the child of a mistress. We don't want to call it a mistress.
It could be even like probably you have sibling and and now because
in some
now we have to call them your cousin and
your
don't ask, ama brother yako na usiulize maswali.
And even cousin, I remember it took me a while before I could call people my cousin. For us it was brother and sister.
I still
and
see
you
that.
know we are not blood. But it took a while for me to call my cousin's cousin.
For the longest time, I thought I was weird for explaining that, where I'm like, this is, and you've said it a lot of times when you're asking me, like, how many are you? And I say, and you're like, no. That's
sister.
That's not your sister. We only have. That's your step. Why are you calling them that?
It took a while, because even right now, when you ask me, like, you remember the other time, we were going to Eldoret and I told you, oh, we are going to see Getty. And I don't know if I told you Getty, my sister.
Yes, you said that,
And then I was like, oh, she's in Eldoret. And I was like, no, Getty, we have two Gettys.
That's
so you have two sisters with the same name. No, one is my cousin. It's a lot. Yeah, it's taken a while for me to, but say, cousin is cousin. In fact, there's a video for when we are doing friendships, I'll share it. Someone who categorized friendships and was like, this is an acquaintance, this is an associate, this is a best friend.
Kwanza with friendship, you have to be very cautious.
So now label things and put them in categories. Yeah. Someone else said here, we suffered. You know the Mama wa Kambo is, you know the Mama wa Kambo is mama. Hey, my lord.
You know
Kiswahili.
Unataka usaidizi.
We suffered. You know the Mama wa Kambo si mama. That's in quotes. You know the Mama wa Kambo si mama saying. We experienced it firsthand. There was emotionally and psychological abuse. It is worse than physical abuse. Now the gaslighting, where our biological parents pretends you never suffered and life was good. So therapy has to help you heal those wounds.
Where? That takes me back.
Alisema Mimi and the blinds.
Parents do that. They do not want to acknowledge their roles in some of these things that we
in
went
your traumas.
through. They do not want to accept it. I remember I sat my dad down and I told him, do you remember what you did? He was like, no, what? I think I even told you. Mimi nikakufanyia hivyo. No, not me. All of a sudden, he can't remember what he did. And it's not just the parents. I'll say even the relatives at large.
Everyone.
Because I remember begging my auntie and telling my auntie, I do not want to go with my dad because ABCD is going to happen to me. She looked at me and said, Ntakuchapa. Everyone thought that I was lying. Before my grandmother died, she called me to apologize and told me, I am sorry for what we took you through.
I don't think they thought you were lying. You remember when we discussed and we said they picked the truth that favored them. They picked the side that favors their image. I can't side with a child who already everyone is already talking bad about them. Why would I side with them and then look like? So then it's not that they don't believe you. They know exactly what you're saying and they know it is true, but they can't put their allegiance with you.
They cannot.
That will unsettle whatever it is. African parents and image. Africans and image. This image that has to be protected at whatever cost. At the cost of your children's innocence, at the cost of your children's traumas. It is so wild to me that, man.
It was, I hope that person finds a lot of healing, because
I like that they said
the therapy. Yeah, because emotional abuse na where.
And then the gaslighting. They now you're dealing with things. You're dealing with traumas from your past, and this parent refuses to acknowledge, and they're just like, you had a good life. I mean, what are you talking about?
Mimi nilikuwa naambiwa shika hivi Biblia na wape ya kwamba.
Imagine.
You haven't done something and unaekelewa. There's nothing you've done. But they sit you down on the floor. They are sat on the bed and they tell you, if you lie, I'm gonna beat you. Can you swear? Swear with God's name.
Imagine.
Take this Bible.
And
swear. They gaslight you like shit. Umeekelewa vitu, there is nothing that you've done. It's
and
just
somehow you are supposed
left, right, and center all the time.
You're supposed to grow up and have a good relationship with this religion that was used like that on you.
Hey. Kwanza, when you're told ati you call your stepmom mom, me I used to be commanded to call them mom. All of them, wote watatu.
Can you imagine? And the instability. It's not just one mom.
No, it's not just one mom. Moja alikuja akaenda, mwingine akakuja na mateso zake pia. I was in Form 4 at that time. All of me, I used to cry at school because I don't want to go home.
You don't want to go home,
School is better. Boarding school is better. Let me stay at school and at least peace of mind.
Yeah, I remember the debate for boarding school where we were saying, as much as we want to abolish boarding schools, it was a safe haven for children from some traumatic homes.
It was a safe place.
Maybe just make the schools better and then maybe encourage kids who have like better upbringing at home can go to day schools. Make day schools better, and then boarding schools is itolewe. It's still an escape for a lot of children who home is not safe.
Hey, Mimi, you've reminded me something. I used to, so when my shosho finally apologized and I went and met her and was like, Shosho, me, I'm tired of all these women my dad keeps bringing. Ni wanawake wangapi I'm going to call mom. And she asked me, Wajiro, wananiere, how many women, even me, how many women am I going to call daughter? How many women am I? It wasn't just you. It wasn't, and that's when I realized it's affecting her as well. So stepmother after stepmother, and they're all horrible. They're all horrible, and you're being forced to see them as your mother, and you're not them. They're not your mom. They're not even treating you like their child.
And I'm also thinking for you, it might be traumatic in the sense that I'm being forced to call someone mom, yet my mom has died. It's not like she's left.
Exactly.
So I'm being forced to. You're forcing me to call someone else to almost replace. And this person is not treating me anything like a mother.
That's how it felt like.
Yeah. Anyway, let me read the last one here, which is very, very long. Okay. It was mail. Someone said, finally, a topic I can contribute to. Blended family haziwezi work for real. Blended family haziwezi work for real.
Nairobi.
Because me, I don't know what's like. If you don't type clear, just English only, I struggle higher. So my dad married twice after my mom left, but still, it was as if hajaoa. None of the women he married were there for me. Let's not talk about the jealousy they have, my lord. I was a daddy's girl, so he would go all out for me, from going to a good school to clothes, because to him, it was a way of compensating for my missing mom. But it didn't sit well with his wives. They all used to see me as one threatening their children's future. So they constantly blame me when dad is not around and go report vitu za uongo when he came back. They were even recruiting my half-siblings to be haters. Things became worse when I joined college. You know how joining medical school is expensive. They complained, na wakasikia vibaya na huko, but I got in anyways. Now that we are grown, step siblings and I are super close, and I could wish for more, but for their mothers, I just had to cut them off completely. So at least you had your father, because I guess for this person, it's the me by the way, stepmoms are giving heavy pick-me's.
That's what I was trying to tell you. There's something about stepmoms. For stepdads, we usually hear that they've raped.
Yeah.
That raping they're abusing they're sexually abusing the girls. But for
even boys.
Or even the boys, yes. The stepkids. But stepmoms
are heavy pick-me's, because why are you fighting for a man's love with their child? And why do you have a scarcity mentality? Why do you feel like if I pay school fees for this one, we won't have school fees for this one?
Mimi nilikuwa naambiwa ati I want to take my dad. I'm telling you, for me,
but it's my father. See, I want to take him.
For her, the jealousy is based on finances for provision for the other kids.
Yeah.
For me, it was jealousy that they think I want to take their husband.
Yeah.
And he's my father. It's wild.
Yeah, but there's also the idea, hey, my lord, hiyo hata tutamaliza kwa podcast ingine. The romanticization of children and parents. There's a very wild...
Ay, Jehovah.
There's something it's wild there,
waters.
But it is. But me, I've come to this podcast, nikimaliza nafanya therapy kabla tuingie season 5.
Every time I come here, I realize I need therapy.
Yeah, it opens up a new can every time.
Yes, every time. That's sad.
It is sad.
You know... Now, I know you want to end the podcast.
Yeah, I also wanted to have like our last thoughts on how this should evolve now. Even right now we are dating a lot of single dads, single moms. We are literally, okay, not me.
Well.
But if you are a baby daddy, may I not see, between my interview, don't pass around. But right now there's a lot of single parenting. And people are very open to not staying in relationships that are not working.
Yeah.
So there will definitely be a lot of blended families going forward. There'll be a lot of stepmoms and stepdads. People will have half siblings a lot in the future. I'm also worried for that because it will get to a point where should we marry in the country because you don't know who you'll be blood with at some point. Oh yeah, nimeenda your point and then we
yeah, it's actually on that now that you've touched on it. Hey, I think you should do blended families for parents.
Blended
families for parents
who
are in blended families, who are dating,
the ones who have the step kids now,
the ones who are dating men with kids, parents with kids, ama they are married in those homesteads, ama parents who when you wanna date pia, and parents
so
who
if you're
are single,
a step parent,
and if you're a single parent and you're looking to date, do that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. because I've realized when I want to touch on that point, it's very deep.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say is that when it comes to dating right now, I have to be very cautious. I've realized I've gotten to a point of healing where I know I can date a man who has kids, and I have done that.
Yeah.
But being with this man, one thing I realized is there are people out here who can make good husbands, but not good fathers.
Dads, yeah.
And it's something that as a parent you have to be very careful about. Because of my experience, I'm very cautious. Me, there are things a man will say, I'll be like, okay, no. And right now I'm seeing someone who has kids, and you have to, it's deep.
You have to,
you have to you have to be very cautious. You have to be very cautious.
And you're also considering that if you're dating someone who has children, you're taking in a package.
You're taking in
so
a
I'm
package.
not only loving you, I also have to
Exactly.
consider I'm loving kids, I'm loving. It's very. Me, I could only
also-
relate it to my friendship situations where I tell
your
people a
friend.
lot. If I get friends who have kids, now you see, I'm thinking of 2 birthdays. You see, I'm thinking of sijui gifts. If I come to your house, sikuja tina mkate.
Hapana.
I'm thinking I come to your house with biscuits, and it's like that.
Yes.
Someone comes as a package to you. Yeah.
So with dating, there's something fashionable stepmom usually says is that you just have to realize that they all have their own personalities, and sometimes it might not work. It's not easy for kids to accept the
Also,
step parent,
true.
especially when the biological parent is alive.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's very hard because they think you're coming to replace my mom. And also it's deep. And also the co-parenting bit of it,
Needs to be healthy.
it needs to be very healthy,
Yeah.
where you're letting your partner handle everything co-parenting with the other partner. Like, what are the lines? What are the white lines? What are the boundaries here? Where shouldn't you never cross when it comes to such relationships and such situations? And I think that is why it was crazy for us who have had step parents, because there weren't any boundaries. But right now, dating, you realize there have to be boundaries. There's someone I was dating, and they said, so my daughter is very free.
Sorry.
And she's just like she has her own personality, and she's a very free girl. And I am not that strict with her because she's well behaved. And then this person that I was dating makes a comment and says, hey, unachanga huyo mtoto akwe hivo.
Hey, my friend.
What do you mean namwachanga akwe hivo? That is the way I've raised them. If you're coming into my life, better buckle up and just blend in. And that's what it's called. Blended families.
Yeah.
Because you're blending in.
You're blending two different cultures and upbringings, and my friend. Me, I'm thinking it's so much because there's even the aspect of, you've had these situations where see, now me, I've come into this home with now our kids here.
Yeah.
And then we're co-parenting with someone else. But then this kid, the father of this one that I came with, buys this one an aeroplane. And then there's that other child there who is not his responsibility, who doesn't have an aeroplane.
Not because he'll say that's not my
That's not
responsibility.
my.
Let me tell you,
my Lord.
if you date me, you're dating me and my child. If you're dating a single parent, know that you're dating them and their child. And at what point are you introducing that person, your partner, to your child? Ndo nakwambia, you need
It's
an
a
episode
lot of it's
for
mathematics.
this. It's mathematics.
My
And
Lord.
when you're co-parenting, at what point are you allowing your partner to introduce your child to their... Because for me, you remember when I found out from a phone call when I had a sound, a voice, I was like, umefanya introduction without even letting me know. Like how it's murky waters. Boundaries.
It is. Hey,
it's deep. Tufanyia episode hiyo sisi.
Episode noted for polygamous and Ciru. What is it called? Blended families for parents. Parents come on if you're dating and you're serious with someone who has a child, or both of you have children and you're trying to blend, or you're co-parenting. My lord.
Yes.
Hizi ni shida tu mumeamua hizi that's my man. That's my man. See the screen? That's my man.
The situation. Also, I'd like the perspective of a man or a son, a boy is basically a man who is a step parent to a boy, or a man who has been a step kid. Who has had a stepdad? Yes,
who's had a step?
So vice versa.
Okay.
Yes. So the mom came in with the son, and also a situation. So the perspective of the man, having a stepchild who's a boy, and the perspective of the boy, the child having a stepdad. Because what I hear with men out here, Nikitu ata nimesikia, you'll see it a lot and you hear it a lot, is that it's hard for a man to be a step parent to raise another man's child who's a boy. Another man's son, yes, because they say when the son,
because they're thinking of an heir.
When he grows up, atenda kutafuta baba yake. Mumenielewa?
Nimeget.
Umeget.
And also the way the African setup is, a son is an heir.
Yes.
So people feel some type of way if this person who I'm bringing up to take after me is not my blood. So there's that, of which I also feel like a lot of it is we are working with blankets, because I've realized, outside Nairobi in Mashinani, a lot of men are raising kids who are not theirs, and do
they know?
Yes, they treat them very well. So there's a lot of things also in the urban areas. It's very politicized. But back home, it's another day. It's another day, yeah. Baba huyu hayuko, ni mtoto wangu sasa, and people leave. Yeah, so I hope we can get all those perspectives. I hope we've managed to try and cover as much as we can without the people who've experienced it.
Yeah, I hope we have. I feel like
we've tried. Imagine we've tried. We might do it again later. Maybe in season 5, and maybe get more voices in, just so everyone feels seen. But for now, that brings us to the end of our episode today. Thank you, Ciru. Bless you.
Always, tafadhali. If you need someone, niko hapa.
Resident co-host.
It's your resident co-host, Climax Ciru. Muriuki Kiai. Thank you for having me.
Bless you. And this has been the In All Honesty podcast. Until next week, my fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast.
Easing out on family matters. Next week, we want to talk about legacy. Is it legacy? Is it black tax? Is it entitlement? Basically, how the dynamic is between parents and their kids, and the idea of growing up to support your parents, or the idea of you being the retirement plan for your parents. I'm still figuring out how to name that per se, but basically I had put out a prompt earlier just mentioning, are you one of those people who's struggling with how entitled your parents are to the money you're making or the wealth you're making, or they're too dependent on you that you're not able to even sustain yourself, or you feel like you're guilty throughout, you need to send money back home, yet you can't even sustain yourself, yet you need to build a future for yourself. And in some cases, these your parents are actually stable and can support their own lives. So that over dependence, or rather the idea of children being the retirement plan for their parents, or them heavily relying on their children so much that it cripples their growth and how they're investing in their future. That's what we'll be talking about next week. I will have figured out a title by then, but that's basically the dynamic around it. Maybe you can call it black tax. I'm not sure, but let's talk about it. You can always reach me on my socials at OLAVEORAWO, or send me an email with your story at olaveorawo@gmail.com.
Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059, or via email olaveorawo@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.